I never thought that the day would come when I would have to send my 9-month-old baby to nursery so that I could go back to work. And even at this point, it's not something that I'm at peace about. And I'm sure a lot of moms go through this back to work anxiety and stress. So yeah, hello guys, welcome, or hopefully welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the process I went through to find a nursery for my baby. So if you are new or you haven't caught up yet, I had a baby last year, and so I was on maternity leave up until recently, so I had to go back to work and now I had to explore childcare options. And if you're like me and you didn't grow up in the UK, the whole thing of going to nursery, baby going to nursery at 9 months or even less, there are some who go like from as early as 6 weeks, is very unfamiliar. And I always thought I was going to find another alternative. I thought I would find a way out, but as time drew near for me to go back to work, I realized that I really didn't have an option. I needed to go to work and I needed somewhere safe to for my baby to go to, and so we went with nursery. I'm going to do a whole other video on childcare options here in the UK so that you understand it better, but this one is just going to be just a personal journey and update. So I'm just going to talk about what we were looking for and, you know, against obviously what we found, and hopefully you can find a tip or two to learn from that. The number one thing on my list was attention and affection, essentially making sure that this place would sort of mirror a home away from home. I know that nursery ultimately is where my baby will go until they go to school. However, at 9 months, I'm not really interested in how good at math or calculating and all those kind of things they are. I wanted the place to feel like home, to be warm. I wanted to see the people who are there, the nursery assistants, and to see if they're warm, they're friendly, they're affectionate, and then also ask questions about the adult to child ratio. And I think the statutory one is 1:3. I'm not sure if statutory is the word, but that's the mandated one by their body. It's 1:3. However, because it's a baby, I was also concerned about the actual number of babies in the room. So because if it's 20-25 kids in as much as 1:3, for me it would be a bit too crowded. So that was one of the things that I was looking at as well. So we wanted something the way maybe it's like under 10 babies in the room. And then the other thing were the age ranges of the kids as well, because she's 9 months. If they're 2-year-olds in there as well, it might be a bit of a challenge, or you know, someone who is already running around and who is way more developed. So that was another thing that we're looking at as well. So I think with that I was quite happy with what we found, and yeah, it was I think it ticked all the boxes that we had on that front. The next thing that was very important to us was food. So obviously food was going to be a challenge because we're African. The moment my baby could have solids, we've been feeding her sadza, which was staple food made from maize meal back home in Zimbabwe. She loves it. She has maize meal porridge. So that's what she is used to. And obviously we're in a different country and the food will be different. So it was not necessarily saying please cook salsa for my child, but it was more of how often are they going to eat, what is the quantity like. So I did go in one of the settling in sessions and I saw them feeding it at some point, and I could see the quantity. I was like, ah, okay, no, that's fine. And she actually ate what she was given, so I think, yeah, I was quite happy with that. So yeah, that was another very, very important thing. And I mean, if you've got different dietary requirements as well, that's one thing to look at. Like if you have your child has some allergies or something like that, something that you talk about them ahead of time, ask for the menu, see what they eat, and make sure that it is according to what you are looking for. The next thing was flexibility. So because at the moment I'm working part-time, I wanted 2 days, and then that will continue to increase until I'm working proper full-time, taking this time to settle in, whilst I'm settling back at work, she's settling in at nursery. So I wanted somewhere where they would allow that. So again, that's one thing that you can ask. However, most nurseries, the flexibility is to a certain point, so you can't. So for example, if you say 2 days a week and you give the 2 days, you can't then be switching the days, because other babies would have been booked on the other days. So there's really a limit to how flex it is, and really there's nothing that much you can do about it. And most of them, even if your child misses school, you have to pay, because you're paying for the place at nursery and not necessarily for attendance. So yeah, that was the next thing that we looked at. And I think it was something that we also realized, that there is really so much flexibility that they can have to accommodate whatever it is that you're going through. So that's another thing that you have to look at as well. The fourth thing is fees, which is a big one. I used to think that life here is quite expensive, and that was before childcare. Childcare is expensive. Again, I'm going to talk about all that in detail when I do a full childcare video. However, so here in Milton Keynes, from what I saw, I think we visited more than 5 nurseries, and I think the fees per day would range from like £79 to 91 pounds. That's the daily fee. Well, that's the one that we're looking at. Obviously anything way above that, we're not going for that, and maybe somewhere way below that, not really. So that's sort of the range that we were looking at, and those are the kind of standards that we're looking at. And at the moment, there are some funding options, but because of our visa status, we were not eligible yet for that. So it's another thing that we had to take into account. So yeah, you have to sort of look around, ask around, check if you are eligible funding and all those kind of things, because a little goes a long way. If there's a way that you can get some form of benefit, it would really be helpful. So yeah, that was other thing that was important to us as well. But yeah, it is quite a lot of money. So the last thing that we also had to consider, which was one of the key determining factors, was proximity to home, because sometimes you can get a call during the day that your baby is not well and you have to rush back to get them. And also just the dropping off. If you're going to be doing it every day, you don't want to be driving for 30 minutes every day to get your child, especially if it's not bringing, and it's not like it's an exceptional school that you have to drive all the way for. So I think that's another thing that is very, very important. And yeah, so unfortunately I'm not going to share names, or for the sake of privacy of the schools, the kids and everything. I'm not going to share the places or anything. However, I will say that you need to go out and view as many as you can. That's the first thing, because you need to see what is out there and what will fit for you. So this is what was important for me as a mom, and I felt like, this is what I want for my child. But you might have a different list of things, because this is just my list of what was important to me. But you can assess what you want as a mom. And then the next thing is you need to go there, feel like you need to get that feeling. To be honest, I never really got that feeling that if you know, because honestly it's not something that I wanted. If I had another option, I would have. It's not something that I'm jumping for joy about. So I really didn't get that, oh yes, this is the place for me. But I did get the, okay, this place is really good, and I see that they can take very good care of my child in my absence. I was satisfied with them, and I saw everything that I needed to see. So yeah, guys, that was my journey of finding a nursery. My baby has officially begun her journey in nursery now, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. I know it's already comes with its challenges and stuff, but yeah, we will see how it goes. If you have taken your child to nursery, please do share what your experience was, what your challenges have been, and all those things in the comments. And yeah, I will see you guys later in the next video, but until next time, bye for now.